Hey, good afternoon. I'm John Rhoads. This is Rhoads Life Coaching. And I had a funny kind of image in my head the other day of the idea of little kids standing at the top of the stairs looking down into the dark basement and the fear of whatever it was down there in the darkness. Do you have any experience like that, either with your own children or as a child yourself? Thinking of 4, 5, and 6 years old, of whether it was the monster in the closet, the monster under the bed, or whatever it was that was down there behind the furnace that was making that noise, standing at the top of the stairs to the basement. We all have some version of that for ourselves, where as a small child, we create a fear that doesn't exist. Think about that for a minute. There was never any monster under the bed. There was never a monster in the closet. There was never any monster down in the basement. And sometimes we still get caught in that kind of trigger fear of an old part of our brain remembering that fear as we turn the light off in the basement to go upstairs. That is a very natural and normal thing. It happens to all of us some way or another. But the idea of being able to recognize standing at the top of the stairs and knowing that you're afraid and wondering what's down there in the basement. A very cool aspect of this image for me is something that one of my mentors has said, in that the thing that's down there in the dark in the basement, the thing that you're afraid to go look and see, is just you. Little kids create that fear on their own. They imagine some monster being down there behind the furnace, and there's nothing there. How often do you do that in your daily life? How often do you find yourself creating a fear that doesn't exist? And the reality is that if you go down in the basement, whatever age you are, it's just you in the basement. In thinking of our emotions, our physical responses, our negative beliefs, the vast majority of the things that we find conflict with and struggle with, that we're afraid of, are really just us. And that fear of taking a look inside ourselves, into the basements of our personalities, into our experiences and what we believe, that it's really just us in the basement. Knowing that changes the ability to go down into the basement. If we know that it's just us there and that there's no monster, there's suddenly nothing to be afraid of. I would ask and encourage you to consider this image when struggling with working on your own personal growth and development. The fear of letting all of the emotions out, of saying the negative core belief out loud, is really just the fear of the monster in the basement. And what's really in the basement isn't a monster, it's just you. How does that impact your life? How would your life be different if you knew that that fear of the darkness in the basement wasn't to be afraid of? I'd be happy to continue this conversation. It's a really powerful one. Lots of different ways to go with it. But it's something that we each need to take a moment to look at and realize that there isn't a monster in the closet or under the bed. It's just us. And that we don't need to be afraid. I'm John Rhoads. This is Rhoads Life Coaching. I hope that you're able to find purpose and meaning in daily life.